Welcome to the bonus level.
Hey guys, and welcome to level 6 of the bonus level podcast. This evening we have a spooky show for you, the Halloween special, and it is being recorded live. Everyone all together in the same room, and it is also our very first episode with a special guest. So we have our normal co-host, and we're going to go around and introduce ourselves, but we are very excited to talk about all things ghost and spooky and horror related. So first, obviously, my wonderful co-host, Luch.
Hey guys, thank you for coming to this week's episode.
And we also have Josh.
I'm Josh. Blah, blah, blah.
And our very special guest, we have that guy.
Hello everyone, this is that guy, aka Caleb, also known as the #1 fan of the Bonus Level podcast. I'm happy to be here as the ghost expert this week, and excited for a great show.
Nerd.
The ghost expert, also like he said, known as that guy. So this week we have a great show. We're going to be covering all sorts of things. We're leaving out our normal segments and stuff like that, so that we can bring you all things spooky and Halloween. What do you guys think about Halloween's right around the corner? It's now. It's happening.
I'm pumped.
Well, I'm kind of excited for it. Except, there's those people out there that like to mix Reese's and M&Ms and Skittles inside a single container.
Are we gonna get to that person who you're talking about, or you just want to hit?
Let's go ahead and bring this up right now.
Okay, just bring it up. Go ahead.
So Jack, the beautiful host of tonight's show today, decided to leave us out some goodies. Some nice assortment of what looks like M&Ms, except inside of that container of horrors contains Reese's Pieces, Skittles, and M&Ms camouflaged within one another, and I just happened to be the first one at the table, and I took a nice big handful before the sheer terror shows up on my face as I spit each and every one of them out.
Let it be known that was intentional to get every single person at the table, and the only one that was not fooled was the ghost expert himself, who knew that it was spooky and did not reach his hand inside the jar.
It was haunted.
As a ghost expert, I could tell when a serial killer is amongst us, and I knew something evil was afoot, so I declined to indulge myself.
It had nothing to do with the fact that both me and Josh were puking.
We're already gagging. When you reach into the jar expecting a handful of chocolate and peanut butter, and what comes out are lies.
See, but that's like, it was so average from Jack. Because Jack, I would expect something like fingers, like inside there, or like a tiny like hand that would come out and like scare you. Mm-hmm. And like he would go as far as like to make the whole thing shake and like have Skittles pour all over the ground in order to get a good scare. But no, he decided to go with the asshole friend prank.
And it worked.
It worked though. It worked though. It was awful.
Very deceiving.
It was terrifying.
So before we actually start into the spooky stories, I have two things that I want to point out. First, if anybody is still listening from our early episodes, one of the very first topics that we brought up was Josh's sober October and his commitment to stop smoking for the entire month of October. And we actually put a challenge to him that if he didn't do that, if he failed to stop smoking, we were going to shave his head. And Josh, what's the results?
Oh, I'm fucking clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we did not get to shave Josh's head, but we do want to shout out the fact that it's how many days?
What's today?
Today's the 26th.
So, it was, our first podcast was on the 2nd, so it was midnight of the 2nd that I had not had any
24 days.
or anything. I had someone blow smoke in my face once during that period, but I never grabbed a cigarette myself.
Was it like trying to be like a...
No, I asked them to.
Oh, so wait, do we get to shave like the sides of your head for that? Is that
No,
it's kind of already.
If you would like to, I have not shaved my my ass. But,
who
you guys
does
can smooth
that?
it out a little bit.
Who does that? Just sitting there waiting and just like, Jack, I just need you to blow some smoke in my face slowly. I need to feel it. Is it menthol?
And that's awesome. So congratulations,
Thank
and
you.
hopefully that continues, and hopefully you don't give up sober October for
There's only a couple more days left, and I can get right back into.
Yeah, see, that's what we're talking about.
Hopefully
Hopefully it continues.
This is it.
Which is just awesome. I've been trying to get you to stop for a while.
I know.
And then, second order of business, there's somebody out there who has been playing the game of golf for 4 months exactly, and somebody that I've been teaching how to play and giving lessons and tips and tricks that just got a hole-in-one this week. So shout out to that guy who, yes, if anybody that knows about golf, I've been playing golf since I was 15. I've been playing for a long time, and I've never had one. It's something that is very, very rare for golfers, especially regular average golfers and even semi-average. Luch has also been playing for a long time, and he didn't get one until very recently.
It took me 20 years to get my first hole-in-one.
Yeah.
20 years. What's his name?
His name is Ahmad.
Ahmad?
Yes.
Ahmad, if you're listening to this podcast.
You just mouthed some unpleasant words. He's not very happy.
No, but congratulations, man. That's definitely a cool thing.
So shout out to that guy. He also said if I didn't mention it, he would disown me, or I would be dead to him. One of the two.
Does he have a video? Post that overlay.
He has a photo, and I can put the photo in the video. So yes, very very jealous, but also very happy for him.
Good job, Ahmad. Like, comment, subscribe.
Which he has. He's been listening every week, so thanks again for that.
Dedicated fans. You have a competitor there.
There you go. Yeah, maybe he's number one. I don't know. Also, the reason that everybody's here is that tomorrow we have our big Halloween party. Josh is in town. He's not even from here. He doesn't even go here. So we're super excited about that. It's going to be real fun for anybody that's listening to the podcast. We're going to be having a good time. Bonus level podcast live in party show concert. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. All of the above.
All of the above. So yeah, we're super excited about that. That's gonna be fun. You guys are coming, right? Everybody's coming?
Definitely.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. We'll have the resident ghost expert at the party just in case anything spooky goes down.
I was paid to be here with Skittles, Reese's, and M&M combos.
We did not find him on Craigslist.
You sure?
Luch is bringing the horrors.
He's like, what?
To my wife, if you be listening to this, I'm not bringing the hose. If there will be any hose, they will be garden hose.
He's bringing the horrors.
The hors d'oeuvres? You bring
the horrors. Like whore, but like oars.
No, the hors. So they can row away. So they can row away.
Isn't that the best kind?
I guess.
Well, it was great being on the podcast, guys. I gotta go.
Yeah, but anyway, so let's get into the spooky stuff, right? This is the Halloween episode. Yeah. This is the Halloween special. You guys are listening to it. It is Halloween tonight, so hopefully you go out and have a safe, fun, spooky time. What are some of your biggest fears? So, Josh, what's the one thing you're most afraid of?
To me, it's a very close tie between two things.
One is Luch leaning over you.
I would say, like, one of my biggest ones is definitely heights. With heights, though, it's just more I have a super strong respect for heights, and where, like, I know where they're at all times. Like, it's not like they're not. It's not sneaking up on me. It's not going to jump scare me or anything like that. But so, like, if I just keep my distance, we never have an issue. But there are times where you have to interact with heights that you just have to man up and deal with it. I don't generally do well with heights.
So to paint a picture for you guys listening, so just imagine Josh on a cliff, and he's just pointing at the sky. You've won this time, heights. Next time,
I'm staying away from you.
Yeah. As he respectfully bows before it,
and then a godlike figure just comes out.
I am heights.
You gotta respect heights and that. Fallen hurts.
What else?
So my creature fear would, I think, be the alligator.
Alligators.
Welcome to the home of the alligator.
Yeah, right.
Florida.
Thanks for coming.
That was the thing. Being born here, I was born Dunedin. How far is Dunedin from here?
10 minutes north.
10 minutes from here is where I was born. You know, moved up to Georgia, but still have the alligators, like, they're cool as shit. They're fucking dinosaurs.
So is Lake Placid the movie to watch?
No, it's not. The movies of alligators aren't what terrify me, but like swimming in any lake, river, even in the ocean, whatever it may be. The thought of alligators coming up, grabbing you, doing the death, spin, taking you under, no.
Got you. Okay, so alligators and heights for Josh. Luch, what about you?
So now, like, I have generational fears. Like, I mean, like, I'm scared of heights to a certain extent. I was always the last kid to go down the zip line. Tell you what, though, that's super freaking. I think, like, Jack, you can appreciate this one.
Women
is we're gonna need Chaps to put in some emotional music on that one.
World's smallest violin chimes.
No, but like just the open ocean.
Ooh.
Like when you look at like a video of just like it, just looking down, it's just constant blue.
Get out of my head.
Yeah.
And it's like that part is like terrifying because you don't know what's down there, man.
No.
Like
not being able to
you
touch
can
the
have
water.
like
Miles and miles of water.
of nothingness.
Well, it's not nothing. Tell you
Of
that for
something,
sure.
of good big old H2O and salt.
I'll tell you for sure, it's not nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah, but what's down there, man? I don't even know, and it's just getting deeper by the minute. It penetrates.
I know it's down there. It's the Meg.
The Meg is down there.
Yeah.
So heights in the open ocean.
The open ocean, and then because like when you go out like swimming in the ocean, like because my family's been boat people, we go out in the water, and then like when you go out, what?
It's the movie Waterworld. So
You just called your family boat people. It's just really that's a weird concept. Like, are they like one's a tugboat, dad's like a steamliner? Like, what do you mean? They're
Guys, we had a little bit of drink before this episode, so don't forgive us. But like no, like when you're out there, and then like you're like, oh no, my line's tied to a rock, and then like I would have my stepdad jump in there and like swim down there, and I'm like,
Yeah. Where'd he go?
like a knife in his mouth, and just like I was hunting the Meg.
I didn't know your dad was Jason Statham, so that's kind of cool.
But when you're out there in like the water, man, and like just imagine like no boats, no nothing surrounding you, you're just floating.
Yeah. Scary. No thanks.
But like my like pop culture horror, like
Okay.
fear type.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like fictional fear. It's not really like ghosts and stuff that scare me, but like it's like weird like the type of like voodoo curse stuff. I like the witch doctor stuff that like creeps me out. Like
Interesting.
like the curses and stuff.
When was the last time you saw a witch doctor?
Yesterday.
I mean,
Like
I
voodoo
had
dolls
a
and
pretty
all that kind of
awful
stuff?
concoction at Starbucks today called
Was
the
it-
Witch's Brew.
Was it the guy? I heard that tastes terrible.
It's awful, dude. They put like chia seeds or something
Yeah.
in there. It was nasty.
Yeah, I heard it tastes terrible. But it looks good, but it tastes terrible.
It tastes, it looks cool, but it looked like the Hulk literally just had his own festival.
I thought it was like a Joker drink.
And the
Yeah,
thing
it
is,
was
it
a
just,
witch's brew.
you know it's a bad drink when the drink has texture.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a liquid.
When you can
there
feel
was
it.
a texture to it.
Bro, I don't even know what was inside this drink, guys, but it looked like tomato seeds, like that green liquid that's around the seeds, and they put it in there.
It was chalk.
It was super gross. But like I don't know, like the curses and stuff, like the really weird stuff that might exist but might not exist type of thing. Because like ghosts, I mean, like ghosts, they have great sexual experiences with some people. Ghosts, they haunt people sometimes. You never seen that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I can confirm I am the ghost expert.
Succubus.
No, that's a demon, bro. That's
What is a succubus?
Succubus is a demon. No. Like the people, like the women who go on Ellen DeGeneres are like, I've had some multiple sexual relations with my ghost boyfriend.
Yeah, that's what an incubus and a succubus are. The incubus is the guy ghost that rapes women, and succubus is the female ghost that rapes men.
Okay.
Like, how do you guys not know about this? This is
I know
like
about.
the
I know
coolest
exactly.
fucking thing
I
ever.
know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
Guys, I'm
I
a ghost
Anyways,
expert. Let me
go the
quit.
ghost.
Oh, yes,
expert.
the
The
ghost
ghost
expert,
expert.
please,
What are you
please.
afraid of as a ghost expert?
Am I wrong?
As a ghost expert, I can confirm that a succubus is a female demon-like creature that seduces men and then kills them.
But that's not a ghost.
It's not a ghost.
Can
It's
be.
not a ghost.
It can be. Okay, whatever.
I took a class in succubus demonology, so
Okay.
Yeah, I totally forgot. You went to Cambridge for
yes.
I apologize.
But
I apologize.
in regards to the fears, I'll go with one rational and one irrational
Okay,
fear.
perfect.
So my rational fear is actually kind of like what Luch was talking about, but drowning. Something about drowning that seems like the worst way
Yeah.
to die.
Yes.
Because you're you're trying so hard, you can see, well, maybe you can see the light and you just can't reach it in time.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it. You're just drowning. And it seems like the worst way to go. Like, just feeling completely helpless.
Like when your ship sinks and then, you're trapped with your lover on top of a door, but then you won't decide to split the door time and then just have one of you sink to the bottom.
Or like when your parents are boat people, so... It's insane.
All right, so
my irrational fear is I've always, like, ever since I was a child, just been afraid of, like monsters, like werewolves or demons or things that, might not necessarily exist. Depends on your, belief. But those always seem to be the scariest. Like, always, like, I would, like, at nighttime, I would always have a special, like, I'd always be on super high alert, like, and it wasn't even, like, I wasn't even worried about someone, like, trying to take me or rape me or something like that. It was always... like, oh my god, what if there's a werewolf around here? What if there's some kind of monster that, most likely is never going to happen, but that's just always in the back of my head. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, oh god, it's a monster.
For all those people listening right now, Caleb is built like a professional MMA fighter and has been fighting for years. Anybody trying to take and or rape him, you will be extremely sorry to find out this is not going to work out.
If there's any ghosts out there that are maybe interested in the ghost expert, maybe getting one up on him, not a good idea.
Not a good idea. He knows spectral Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
So
I would like that, whatever.
I like that. So that's good. I like the irrational and rational. So for my rationally irrational fear, okay. So I have one biggest fear. I'm not afraid of anything. I like spiders, snakes. I like heights. I like whatever. My one fear is twofold. It comes with a great respect for sharks, but also I refuse to be eaten by one. So much so as if I were in the ocean and there were a shark, I would gladly off myself first, then try to fight and survive the shark.
Guys, he's not joking. We had a discussion about this one time, and he's like, if there was a shark eating my leg, and then I had a pistol, and I could easily shoot that shark in the head, I would choose to shoot myself instead.
I would shoot myself to put myself out of the misery of being eaten alive by a shark, on the off chance that I would shoot the shark with the bullet, and it still wouldn't kill it, and then I would be like, shit, I could have killed myself. But here I am getting eaten. Like,
well, I just want to recap the fact that we have 4 guys in Florida that their fears are sharks, alligators, open water, and drowning.
Hey, you respect heights, I respect the water.
Like,
so.
no, but the fact of we could fix all of our biggest fears
by leaving this area.
By just moving a state north.
Bro, the 0.2% people that dive into the ocean, look out into nothingness, and be like, God's creation's just so beautiful. I'd be looking there like, big squid monster going to come up, is going to drag me down there. And I ain't going to live. Now, I'm going to find a little cavern, maybe get some air pockets, maybe meet, some mermaid people, except those mermaid people are cannibalistic, and then mermaids. They eat my flesh. Flesh-eating piranha people.
The mermaids that you think are like nice, pretty creatures aren't. Mermaids are actual demons.
That's the thing. I've liked watching the different movies that have both. I like seeing the really hot ones, and I like seeing when they do in the movie the really terrifying.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that they'd be ugly, but I think that they would be.
It's the before and after of alcohol. So the hot ones are after you've had a few too many, but what they really look like is the really ugly ones.
So we understand
the siren spell.
Yeah.
We understand that mermaids are sea lions. Okay. And we also understand that if mermaids did exist, they would have human legs and a fish body.
That's so weird.
How else would they reproduce?
Funny enough, I just watched the Futurama episode where Fry falls in love with the mermaid, and then when they like go to get married or whatever, he's like,
when are you gonna egg me or something like that?
She's like, no, I leave and you fertilize the eggs, and he's like, nope.
Or like the Family Guy episode, or like the thing I discussed, where it's like Lois, Stewie tries to kill Lois, and she ends up like in the thing, and she gets saved by a mermaid, but it's like the opposite. Yeah, it's male legs, and then he tries to go and make out with her, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I just saved you. I'm about to mate with you." And she goes like, "Yeah, maybe if you had like the fish body," but then he's like, "Then I wouldn't have a penis."
Semantics.
It doesn't matter. For some reason, you could do that with any creature. Like you were talking about centaurs earlier. a female centaur would be hot. I don't care what you say, because it still has like the girl face and the girl torso, which is hot. Just
Yeah, but then they
happens to have a horse body.
So you want to go? Okay.
Here at the Bonus Level Podcast, we do not support bestiality of any kind. Please do not comment or say anything about bestiality inside of the chat.
All of our centaur female listeners out there, we have a special place in our heart for you.
No, Josh has a special place for you. Not even in his heart. It's somewhere else.
It's fueled by his heart now.
Maybe not his heart.
But
You
one
can
last
find him
thing-
on. You can find him on Yield Timber.
Well, one last thing to Josh's thing. He said we could solve our problems by moving. There is a small part of our population on this earth that die drowning in their bathtubs.
That's true.
So there's nowhere safe, Josh. Nowhere.
There is nowhere safe. However, also actually to add on to that, there is nowhere else safe in the world from sharks because of Sharknadoes.
That's
Okay,
true.
so
And it's a documentary, so you know it's real.
Yeah,
so
And
You
there's
can't
like
flush
there's
alligators all
like
the
16
time.
of them.
yeah.
Alligators come out of the sewer.
So I could move back north into the cold, and then I could just get hit with a Sharknado, and then.
actually, that would be a shark blizzard. There's rumors.
Oh,
of
that's
that
right. I
happening.
forgot you minored in meteorology. This
We
guy.
have
Ghost expert minor in meteorology.
here at Florida. We don't have Sharknadoes. We have Sharkicanes, and that's even worse because they actually fall from the sky.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds legit. No, the shark blizzard actually is real. I don't know where you're coming up with that from.
It's true. My degree's false.
This guy actually has the meteorology.
He actually has the paperwork on it.
Spent way too many student loans on things.
All right, so speaking of biggest fears, right? We talk about movies a lot. Horror movies, obviously, this month in particular. But what's some of your favorite or scariest movie horror villains? I'm not even going to call on anybody specifically because I know everybody's like thinking about it.
Alright, so as the ghost expert,
Yeah.
my love of scary monsters that scare me started when I was a little child. So my parents thought it was a good idea to let little Caleb watch scary movies, R-rated movies, beast movies, all those scary things when I was like 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the very first things I ever watched was Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, damn.
Like one of my first, as far as like actually scary movies to me for some reason. Because like a werewolf, those type of things, I was like, okay, whatever, at the time. But Jeepers Creepers made no sense to me because I didn't understand what it was. And the main reason it scared me so much is there was one time I remember I was visiting my cousin who lives in a very rural area in Florida where he has acres and acres of land, and we would used to ride his four-wheeler all over the place. I was maybe 10 years old at the time when this happened, and I remember driving down and there's like all these orange groves and super far as the eye can see we were riding. And then for some reason, we were driving by, and in the middle of it was an open field with a scarecrow. And for some reason, it triggered me so hard because I remembered the Jeepers Creepers movie, because I watched it like a week before, too, which was terrible. In the movie is a part with the scarecrow, and that's what he's like disguised as, is the scarecrow. When people get close, he like snatches them. So I like literally froze and then almost crashed through a fence, like a barbed wire fence. I like smashed into it, but luckily I didn't get hurt. But yeah, that was one of the most like influential, like scary villains because it actually affected me to the point where I froze up driving a motor vehicle and almost like could have hurt myself and my little sister.
And the Jeepers Creepers took a pretty big turn there, having human body part ninja shuriken tools and a booby trap truck that would...
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about the later movies.
Yeah.
We're talking
Jeepers
about
Creepers
the
3 does not exist to this ghost expert. It's just not a movie that exists.
Wait, was the Scarecrow one the Justin Long one?
It was in both, but the second one I think was
The
when
second one was when it was in the field. The first one was whenever it was disguised as a scarecrow at the cat lady's house.
Yeah, yeah, that was the one that got me.
The second one was the Scarecrow one mainly, right?
Yeah, but it was brutal. That was probably right up there.
But he looked silly though. I always thought he looked kind of
Not when
silly.
you're
Not and not whenever he like actually opened his, he had the big thing on his side of his head, and like his face.
Because the
like,
first one
opened
was
up.
the scary one when it was like really like it was all on him, and then he had all the bodies up in a base. It was.
Did you guys hear like what like? Do you guys know like what the theory was? Like what he was? Like he's always been like human. He just like he's had a fascination with like attaching himself with like multiple body parts, and just like over the years he just like
grew into
that.
No,
Yeah.
it was a demon.
Became
No,
Frankenstein.
the story in the movie was that he was a demon that came back every 23 years.
They called him a demon.
Yeah, but like he started out as like a human.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
What about you guys?
Intriguing.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
Josh would love to tell you about his favorite
Favorite villain.
Super
I
villain.
do. I have I like lots. So, but I would say, as far as freaky ones, I love the new It. I think the new It
Oh, Pennywise.
is just, Pennywise, just mainly for the fact that I think it's super awesome when a creepy, scary thingy has a sense of humor. And that's something that it had. Like, it was silly at the same time, which that, I think, is more terrifying than, like, someone going, I'm gonna get you. Like, when it's freaky, like, it's having fun with it.
Yeah.
Because, like, the other way, you almost feel like I can fight this. Like, I stand a chance. When someone's joking with you, they're joking with you because they know you have zero chance of doing anything to get away.
And then he got screwed at the end. All right, but first of all, I love the new It, and I definitely don't disagree with you. I'm very happy that they were that they were able to find someone that took Pennywise. What was the actor's name?
Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård.
Who was fantastic.
Yes.
And this Pennywise, which was this Pennywise?
This one was Skarsgård. The original from back in the day was the
that's the original from back in the day.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Yeah. Tim Curry did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Fantastic job. Okay? Like the part where in the second part of the movie, when he's up in the railing,
Spoiler
like in the library, he's just like,
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And then like this Pennywise had definitely a more creepy vibe to it, but like it, like the what year did it come out? 1970 something?
Ooh, yeah.
79?
Yeah, something right around 80.
Like he's silly looking. But when that like smile comes through, it's like hell no. But like this Pennywise, like that creepy buck tooth smile, and then they tried a little bit too much with the fidget jump scares. Like there was like every time, it was like it didn't need to happen. But like I'm so happy, even though I'm sorry for the kid that you saw the death of the kid in this one.
Yeah.
Because like it was such a big part in the movie. And then, like, they actually were like,
got his arm, and then
I've never seen too many movies where like a 10-year-old arm gets
ripped
mutilated.
off. For
Yeah,
sure. Super scary.
Pennywise.
I would have to say Pennywise is probably one of my favorite scary ones. One of my overall favorite villains would probably be in the movie Constantine. Is Lucifer and Constantine with Peter Stormare. I think he plays my favorite Satan of all time.
We just watched that the other day. And
Yeah.
It's really good.
He's incredible.
I forgot how good it was.
I was absolutely blown away by just how he did the whole scene because it wasn't like your normal Satan.
It wasn't
like
over the top either.
It wasn't the big horns and the breathing fire and the it was
Tenacious D.
He had a white suit with he just had the tattoos coming out of the top of the suit and down the sleeves and stuff and just the way that he spoke overall just freaking killed it for me. He's always been one of my favorites.
Agreed.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider.
What about
the Satan in that one.
Okay.
With the Nicolas Cage one.
Yeah.
Was a pretty cool Satan.
I'm trying to think of who played it and what he looked like.
Chaz?
It's unfortunate that the Ghost Riders are so forgettable.
But like the Satan was cool, all black with the cane, and then he had that cool voice.
Yeah.
I like really cool, interesting new takes on Satan.
Yeah, I
like
think
being able to see him in different lights.
I was gonna say, seeing him as a human, like with human elements, I think almost makes him scarier.
Yeah,
because it's relatable almost. Because his evil isn't portrayed with horns and fire and brimstone. It's portrayed with human emotion, which we can understand. Which I think that actually like makes it scarier.
Peter Fonda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Peter Fonda. Well, those movies I remember.
That's Jane Fonda's dad.
Yep. Yeah, he just had like that cool voice, like you're gonna pay back your dad's debt. And I was like, damn. And then his son Blackheart It wasn't really Satan. It was Mephisto was his name,
Mephisto,
but Blackheart's son, like that random part where he was wearing all black and he was like getting picked on by the bar guys, and then like his face just went off. I was like,
shit.
Oh my god.
So is that your favorite?
No,
Okay.
not by far.
All right. So
who is your favorite game then, Luke?
So there's scary villain.
scary villains, scary monsters, and
So mine actually doesn't come from a movie. Mine comes from a video game, and it's actually a tie between two. So one of them being was like you have Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. There's Pyramid Head from the movie, but the ones in the game doesn't do him justice.
Yeah.
Like the Pyramid Head in that one, like his storyline was just so much cooler than in the movies or in the games than they were in the movies. Mm-hmm. He just played such a bigger role.
Yeah,
and like he's so iconic. And
that sword / butcher's like, what the hell?
And like his dude, if you see that guy coming at you, first of all, he's like an 8-foot monster wearing this giant metal helmet thing with no eye sockets. Yeah. And then and bro, like in the game, like you literally like one of the first times you see him, you're in the apartment. And like in Silent Hill, like there's a lot of the monsters and they're all like, mutated, stitched together human body parts. And like the first time you see him, you hide, one of the first times you see him, you hide in the closet, and he literally breaks into your room and he sees one of these things and he literally rapes the thing. Like literally. And I'm like, what the? This thing's like on PlayStation, 2, 1 even at the time. I was like, just seeing this scene and I'm like,
what the?
Pyramid Head don't give it. he takes what he wants.
He's definitely a super freaking cool. And then,
you guys ever heard of the game The Evil Within?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
So The Evil Within is like a psychological type horror game, and spoilers, you're throughout the first game, you're inside this system called the STEM machine, where you're inside someone's head, and the bad guy in that is named Ruvik, and Ruvik looks like this kind of like a super pale guy, looks stitched together, wearing a hood, and he just his entire mind is where the game takes place, and his mind is messed up. His mind is completely messed up. And all the monsters that you fight come from his imagination, and then he himself is super scary. But he ends up becoming spoiler. His brain is the thing controlling everything. And it's just he was a crazy. He was one of those villains that grew up as a kid, or of course he grew up as a kid. He grew up as a kid, grew up super intelligent, but a little bit messed up. And then his family died or his sister died in an awful accident, and he just took that, became a billionaire, and then just did all kinds of experiments, and then became crazy, and then his mind was messed up. But that's definitely one of the. Those are definitely up there with the two. My favorite.
So I'd like to hear about yours, Jack, being our resident.
My resident horror man. Yeah. For the ghost, you're the ghost expert. I'm the resident horror aficionado.
Where's your degrees?
I'll show them to you later. Scary. So my favorite scary villain. You have your classics, right? You have Michael. You have Jason. You have Freddy. The Alien. I was gonna say Jaws to be funny because it's obviously that goes with my fear of sharks, right? But Jaws is so cheesy. Just to mention it real quick, the fact that it spanned 4 movies and it was the same family of sharks that followed the same family of people, just you're looking back on it, you're like, why did the family go back in the water?
Yeah,
after the first one.
First of all, Jack, you wouldn't even have been in the water.
No, of course not.
If they wouldn't have gone in the water, Sharknado would have happened. And
then they would just came raining down the sky. No, my favorite scary villain would be the demon from Sinister.
Okay.
That just shows up in the back of family video and pictures, and then all of a sudden the family just disappears, and then the next family finds the footage, and then that's how it passes the curse along. Dude, that guy is freaky, and he only he uses the children of the family to do all the murders, and then takes the children away into the Shadowland. Bruh,
I haven't seen that movie. No, I don't know, but I like the sound.
That is a scary. He is a scary.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Shout out to the Red Demon from
He's scarier than the Ring Girl.
I don't like. I think that's super
Samara.
Cheesy. I think she's super cheesy.
I was how old were you when that came out? I was 12, I think, when I saw that in theaters.
Okay.
She was pretty scary, but
I would drop kick her. Right back into that well.
Crawls out upside down out of a television.
Now, I will say, like, what she does to you, like, when you're like...
Yeah.
No, shout out to Scary Movie 3. When he comes out, she's like, ow, no.
That would be me.
Backhands her.
Pulls out the weave.
Started beating her.
Thanks, Samara, for having the power of Ambien. So just putting people to sleep when it's 99.
Picks up the phone. 7 days.
Wait, I just saw a meme about that. It's like you get the phone call and you answer it and you're like 7 days because you watched the tape. But then on day 6 you just watch the tape again, so you get the call again. And you're just alive forever. It's just immortality.
No, because they watch the tape constantly throughout there. So like she never got a second call.
They kept watching it after.
Yeah, they kept watching it to like to see what like was going on with it. And then the kid watched it, and then it was like 7 days. And it's like, is that business days? I'm off on weekends, so yes. I wouldn't be coming for you this Saturday. It would be next Monday.
I actually have an appointment for my voice. As a young girl, I've been smoking a lot. Like Josh.
So that's my scary villain is the demon from Insidious, and then obviously all the classics.
Wait, Insidious or Sinister?
Sinister. Sorry,
Sinister,
yeah,
okay.
Sinister. But my favorite villain has to be Vladimir Makarov from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Do you remember the mission where you're pretending you're a Russian spy and you have to walk through the airport?
Yeah.
And he just murders thousands of people in the airport? My man was crazy.
Bro, you were also slamming down those people as well.
No. I never fired a single shot anytime I ever played it because I felt morally responsible for their lives and watching my comrades.
Remember the warning that you got in the beginning? This next will be super graphic.
You could choose to skip it.
Yeah. And you're just
Bro, that guy he just went through like light machine guns. You're just in there with LMGs like...
Remember when you got off the elevator and you just see the people turn around?
Yeah.
And you're
they just open fire. Yeah, he was crazy.
People were running and they're just like going through. That was definitely like a super like dramatic.
Makarov.
No.
Shout out to that man.
No, that was the first Modern Warfare.
No.
Yes, it was.
No.
That was the episode because you were playing the Sergeant. Look it up.
No.
First Modern Warfare. Check it.
Josh?
It's 2.
It's Modern Warfare.
Check it.
Because 2 had the actual airport map and the
in it.
multiplayer.
Not only that, it just went backwards compatible. I just played that mission the other day.
Whiskey bombs with a javelin into the airport all the time.
Yep. You don't need to look it up.
Hang on, I'm gonna look it up.
In Soviet
Or Chad, look this up.
Chad's already looked it up for me. That's how I remembered his name. And it's Call
of Duty.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Makarov is the main villain.
Oh no, you're right. I thought it was the first one.
I know, I'm right.
Damn, I thought I could have
Music
swore
sweet
was
to my ears.
Sweet justice.
Because I just remember like the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You're like switching between all like the different things. And, like the sergeant that you played in Call of Duty 1 was the guy that you played as in that airport massacre.
What? No.
Yeah, it was.
Oh no, because he died.
Yeah, because you die, but you're that sergeant. You get called into a special mission to do that. You're the one. But then the bad guy was the general.
Well, he's the bad guy at the end. Yeah.
Speaking of dying, when you die, you become a ghost, and something that I'm an expert on.
Ghost.
Yes. And
the ghost experts.
I am. So, as a ghost expert, something we're gonna do is tell spooky ghost stories that we have.
Did the guest just do a transition?
I don't know. It's just
Does this guy think he is him and his PhDs?
A ghost expert, he has seen a lot of stuff in person. So I am curious to know.
I got a slight chill in the air, and I had to move along.
He felt it. He felt the hairs on his neck just stood up a little bit. The hair
doing
on my
a
head stood up a little bit.
Pre-information, Jack has no hair on his head.
And it all stood up. It's crazy. That's how I know there's a ghost afoot.
All right, so we do have a few ghost stories. Our special guest, that guy.
Yeah, since
the
you love to
resident
transition.
ghost expert. Would you like to go first?
I would.
Okay.
Might as well.
All quiet on this set, everyone.
We better be entertained if you ever want to be back on this show.
This isn't about entertainment. This is about spreading the knowledge of the ghosts and the truth.
He's bringing out his grimoire right now.
I'm reaching to the spirit land. Alright, so I'll tell you guys a story that happened to me about 10 years ago. I was 15 years old. Mm-hmm. So I was making the route home. I lived very close to a cemetery. I was like down the street, like a block away. So my friend lived on the other side of the cemetery. So I made this trip multiple times. Typically, that would be during the day, though. I was getting home a little bit late. Me and my friend were playing video games, whatever we were doing. I got a little sidetracked. I started heading home. It was a little bit later. By the time I entered, because I would always cut through the graveyard because it saved me like 15 minutes of walking. So I was like, that was always the way to do it. It was getting a little bit darker this time around. I didn't think anything of it. At the time, I was 15. I didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't really think any of that was real. Growing up, whenever you're scared, your parents, that's not real. It's just a movie, honey. Go to bed. Go to bed. My mom smokes cigarettes. That's why she sounds like that. She didn't quit like Josh, unfortunately. But hey there, doll face. But needless to say, I was walking home. It was getting dark, so panic sets in. I'm 15. It's starting to get dark. It's the irrational fears are going through your head. So I was like kind of going quick. Everything was normal, but this was after all the people that worked at the morgue and everything left. So there was no cars in the parking lot. There was no one. When it was light out, I didn't see a single person because the way you walk in was a hill that pretty much overlooked the entire graveyard to the exit that I was going to. Okay. I didn't see anyone in the graveyard. Everything was as normal. Mm-hmm. So I was walking. Everything was fine. It started getting darker quicker, and then by the time I reached, it was dusk. It was pretty dark, but not dark. And I was reaching this. It was like I don't know, you would call them hedges, I guess, with flowers and everything like that. And there was rows of them. There was like a 5-foot gap between each one. And there's probably 6 or 7, if I remember correctly, that go down this row. So I was walking by them as I always do because the road is literally adjacent to it. It's right next to it. You walk past them. And as I was walking by one, I think it was third or something, second one in, and the corner of my eye, I saw someone, something standing there. And then I kind of look over. I thought nothing of it because obviously I was a little bit scared. And I was like, well, it's probably just it's not real. It's just my imagination. So I keep walking. I didn't really look at what it was at first. I walked. The next one, there was nothing there. I'm like, all right, I was just seeing something. The next one I get to, I see another figure there, standing there, a little bit closer this time. And I was like, okay, that's weird. As I'm telling this story, I'm getting chills. Every time I tell a story, I get goosebumps. But so I see it's a figure. I would imagine it wasn't very big or anything like that. It seemed like it was almost like a woman. It seemed very small, petite, maybe 5 feet tall, from what I could guess. And I couldn't really make out any facial features or anything like that. It was almost like a specter-ish type of thing. It was very green and white, almost some kind of tent. So then I was like, okay, I don't know if that was real. I'm gonna keep going. So I keep going. The next row, nothing. Then the next row, nothing. I'm like, oh, okay. It had to be something. It had to be maybe just a bush that was overgrown. And then the next one, boom, there it is again. But this time there's actual features. I can see hands. I can see a face. I can't make out the details. All I saw was a nose and a mouth. And then at that point, I was done. I was like, all right, I don't know if this is real or not, but I am not staying here to find out. So I just start sprinting. So I'm just running. And then I turn back. I look back, and then it's standing there at the road. So there's a road that cuts off, that forks. One goes to the exit, and then another one just keeps going deeper into the graveyard. At the fork, it was just standing there. This whole time, I wasn't sure if I should be scared or not, because it didn't seem aggressive or anything like that. It was just kind of following me, and it was really weird. So I was terrified. I keep running. I'm running probably faster than I've ever run in my life. I don't know what to think. I don't know if it's real or not. And then I get to the exit of the cemetery, and I'm just sprinting. So I get to the other side, and I turn around. Because I'm like, all right, is it chasing me? What's going on? And at the entrance of the graveyard, not the very entrance where you would pull in, but the entrance where the graves start, it just stood there. And then it disappeared. But it never left the entrance to the graves. It just stood there. It felt like it was looking at me, and then just kind of vanished. It just backed up, because it was pretty dark by the time we got to the end. And it kind of gradiated its way out of sight. And ever since that moment, it took me years to even go back into the graveyard. I didn't go back in until I was 17, 18 because I was like, no, screw that. I'm not dealing with it. And everybody I told about this story, I didn't tell anyone for a very long time because I didn't believe it. I was like, what the hell did I see? I was like, ghosts aren't real. And that was probably the scariest thing that I've ever seen. That I still to this day, every time I go by that graveyard, I get chills because can't explain what I saw because it didn't make any sense to my. I try to rationalize it, and now I have my PhD in spookology. So that's the story of how I saw a ghost, and that's why I believe in the supernatural.
Yeah.
From just firsthand experience, like I said, it could have been anything. It could have been me being scared and all those things. Trust me, I'm trying to rationalize it. But it was definitely probably one of the scariest moments that I could probably will ever have, because it just was so unfathomable to my brain.
Damn.
His degree was studied at the Pinellas Community College.
It was online, but that's not important.
He taught himself.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. Like they say that whenever you're already like maybe frightened, or you already have like a sense of you're nervous and anxious, your brain can like manifest stuff like that. But the fact that you like kept seeing it as you were going, and not it wasn't like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely very
Yeah, I looked into it.
interesting.
Obviously, because I have a degree and everything, but I did look. I talked to a lot of people that also had similar experiences. I've read into it and stuff like that, and like that was always my first thing. Is I always try to disprove it because I don't want to believe that actually happened. But a lot of things, like I said, if you it's the power of your brain is very powerful, so you could see things that maybe aren't there. But I continued to see the same thing over and over to a point where it's like I don't see that my brain could manifest the same thing in different situations.
Yeah. That's intense.
But yeah, that's the story that really scared me. I mean, there was other times, but I mean, just like faucets turning on by themselves and stuff. Like shortly after like passings of relatives, that was like after we would talk about them, faucets would turn on and stuff like that. So there's other things that made me feel the way I feel about these type of things. The way I look at it is it's, it could be anything. I don't know for sure because we never will. I mean, there's no way to really know. But in my personal thing, I mean, I thought I saw a ghost that day, and I still, after rationalizing, I think that's probably what it was.
Sure.
Maybe.
All right,
for sure.
So Luch here. All right, so
You had an experience with a ghost too?
myself personally, and like knowing what was happening, no.
Okay.
This was more when I was a kid, and my mom got freaked out over it. But two things that I've experienced myself. First off, I've had sleep paralysis like 3 or 4 times, like super like conscious sleep paralysis.
Maybe.
I have never seen a shadow man. I have never seen any kind of figures. Now it does feel like your brain's all like, jumbled.
Does that trigger you?
Huh?
Just seeing other people have sleep paralysis, does that trigger you?
When they start saying that, like, oh, dude, I saw the
No, I'm saying like if you were to watch somebody in a show have sleep paralysis, would that trigger your fear of sleep paralysis?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not scared of sleep
Okay,
paralysis.
all right, just saying. 'Cause
No, I don't see demons. I don't see shadow people. But when I wake up from it, and like literally, like it feels like my brain's like enclosing on itself.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like,
okay.
one time I did try to reach out to my brother who was walking by and I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And I was like, that time it was then I was like, ugh, okay, I'm good. But no. The only time I ever experienced something, it was just super weird. I was minding my own business in the bathroom, and the whole toilet paper like unraveled itself. No air conditioning, nothing, just went.
That's pretty awesome.
That was the only time I feel like I've ever had an experience with it, and I was like, thanks. I don't need that much.
Wow, dude, that's wasteful.
It was just so weird, but it literally kept on going until like
cool.
the very end, and I was like, what the?
That's crazy.
Yeah, no
You
air
didn't
conditioning,
stop
no
it?
nothing, just.
You didn't stop. You didn't go. Oh, okay, no, that's good. Thank you. I'm good.
I was just weird because it just kept piling up on itself.
When you stop paying bills in this house,
It's a cat ghost. The cat's just like.
But no, like super scary. So when I was a kid, maybe like 6, 7.
did you grow up as a kid though?
I did grow up as a kid.
All right.
Growing up as a child.
We lived in Winter Park, and we had like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And my dad's boss, when he worked at a restaurant, stayed with us because she was like an older lady, and she stayed with us for a little bit till she moved back to Italy. My mom never liked one of the rooms inside the house because the room was always very cold. And my older brother Rocco never stayed inside that room when he came over because he was like, guys, like that room freaks me out. Like I'm not lying. Like I feel like I feel like I hear like scratching noises on the walls. Like it's super cold. I just get an eerie vibe from it. So, but my dad's boss stayed in that room for months, right? And then she just left back home all of a sudden. 2 days after she left and arrived back home, she killed herself.
Whoa.
Like, straight up, like, killed herself.
Jesus.
And my mom was like, we're out of this house. Because, like, she said that whenever you would go in there, it was dangerously cold. When they redid the house, they wondered if there were rats because there were marks on the walls underneath the wallpaper. And it was super freaky. But then she said there was another ghost in that house that she felt like was protecting them. Because she would, whenever me and my mom were alone in the house, she would hear snoring coming from my parents' bedroom. Just like snoring coming from their bedroom. But that one room freaked out my mom so much. Like, I'm legit not kidding you right now. I would bring my dad on this podcast. Like, his boss went back home and immediately killed herself.
That's crazy.
No, didn't take any luggage with her. Left the room the way it is, went back home and killed herself.
Jeez, man.
And, like, my mom was so freaked out at that point, like, she was gone. And my mom's very superstitious, too. Like, she's the type of person that if a family member dies, she covers up the mirrors, and carries all that kind of stuff out. But we had no relatives that would die. We just moved in that house, and that was it from that. So, like...
Damn.
Yeah, that gave me chills again.
Yeah, that's good. I
Like,
like that one.
Just so everybody knows, these stories are not rehearsed. I had no idea that was going to be a story, so this is not something that's an unnatural story.
I've never seen a ghost, and I don't
Reaction.
necessarily believe ghosts believe. Not that I'm saying Caleb's story is false, but like when you hear a story like
What are his
that,
career choices?
Yeah. Skeptical. You sound
like
like my parents.
I'm more the skeptical side. But like when you hear, like, especially from someone that you like, you've spent your whole life with and you love, my mother is a very rational person. When you hear someone say something like that, it's just like, I built Legos in that house, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drank soy milk in that house. Like,
But did you have any help building those Legos?
nah, dude, I was a genius when it came to Legos building.
There would just be an extra house built.
But I myself have never experienced, like, there were always like the kids in school that were like, oh, I was in the bathroom one time and I got all of a sudden a cut across my arm.
But no, I almost died multiple times from a ghost.
Okay.
Like, multiple times. My parents' house that I grew up in and everything, we had a basement. And the basement had, like, the stairs that went down to the basement. They weren't, like, they were, like, where, you could see through the stairs or whatever. Like, they didn't have carpet covering them or
I had the
anything
same
like
in my
that.
basement, yep.
So, basically, anytime that you went to the basement, if you didn't run up those stairs fast enough and close the door behind you, you were definitely going to die.
Okay, hold on. If you've ever had a basement before and you were a kid and you went to go grab something in the basement and you're like rushing back up the stairs, it always sounds like there's someone chasing you.
Right. Like, no, I probably could have died at least 30 or 40 times, but I was a very fast kid. So I got up, I closed the door, and I
Hold on.
was safe.
I need to know if this is true or not. Did you try to act like everything was cool when you ran up the stairs? When I was running, I'd run up the stairs and be like,
Not until I was like 13 or 14. And
goes on one
before that, no, it was run as fast as you can. When I got to be a teenager and I tried convincing myself otherwise, then I tried doing the slow walk. I don't need to look behind me and get up and I'll close the...
I'll close it whenever I want.
I was toying with death at that point. I could have died many
like the basement in a First American Horror Story with the little girl.
So yeah, as a child, growing up in Florida, my whole life I've lived here. We don't have basements here, typically, just because the way the ground works here, it makes sinkholes. We just don't have basements. So anytime I see anything that involves basements, I'm just done. I'm out. Just nope. No thanks. And then every time I see a scary movie, it's always involving basements, and I'm glad I live here and don't have that basement experience. And anytime I've been around a basement, I'm just like, no thanks. It's always creepy. They're always weird and run down. You have the occasional, like, sweet bachelor pad down there with some couches and, like, an N64, but, I mean, for the most part, they're always, like, cobwebs. There's, like, a weird toaster down there. It's just... And as a ghost expert, ghosts and mythical creatures like unicorns love toasters. Yeah.
And by the way, ghosts never haunt finished basements. It's always unfinished basements.
It's 100% fact. There's a peer-reviewed journal about it. Look it up.
Yeah.
If there's a plywood pillar in the middle, no drywall.
Yeah.
Okay, you still see
Cement
the
floor.
you still see the shit that goes inside the middle of the wall. What's it called?
Insulation?
Insulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still see insulation. You see the piping. That's where they love to be at.
Yeah.
No, but a nice finished basement, nice movie theater,
Yeah.
maybe a wet bar. They don't want any of
No,
that.
they don't want none of that.
No, 100%.
Too comfy. You know?
They don't want any of that.
Do you have more to that story?
Well, that story was like my main experience with ghosts,
Okay.
but I did. I had it was a friend of my sister's. Oh, we gotta take this like way back. So like way back, my
You're showing your age.
my great aunt collected porcelain dolls.
Oh,
God.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I'm
Hell
talking about
no.
like her entire house had porcelain dolls,
Oh,
and these
no.
were dolls from like, I mean, as far back as they would go. Like she would watch the infomercials on TV and order porcelain dolls. So like her whole house was filled with these things.
Why can't you
And
ever
so-
be like Care Bears?
Yeah.
Because ghosts love porcelain dolls and toasters. It's proven.
So
Psyched.
my great aunt, she gave a lot of those dolls to my sister. I mean, she would give them to like me, but of course I'd give it to my sister because I had no need for them. So my sister had a lot in her room.
Okay.
And my sister's friend one day told her the story about that she had porcelain dolls too, and that they were starting to freak her out. So she would turn her porcelain dolls to face the wall, and when she would get home from like school or whatever, the dolls would be turned and facing her. And so like after telling the story to my sister was completely freaked out about dolls. So being the good big brother that I am, one day when my sister wasn't home, I went and got all of her porcelain dolls and I put them around her bed.
Oh, my God.
And I went and got different steak knives from the kitchen and I put them in the doll's hands.
Oh, no.
And then I of course left the room and hid, in the closet and waited and everything. And then my sister gets home and goes into her room and freaks the hell out. You could hear her screaming from 2 doors down because it was fantastic.
Okay, so slight disturbance in the force over here. So just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up of what's actually happening at the moment, Josh is telling this amazing story about how he pranked his sister. But in the background of the podcast, my bathroom off to the side of my room here where we're recording, the light is going on and off. And just it's not super weird because it's actually on a motion sensor. But the problem is that there's nobody in there.
Guys, I'm the one sitting by the door right now. I mean, I'm severely freaked out. Like, Caleb looks at me and he goes like, dude, like the light turned on. I'm like, what the hell? And then like we turn around and the light's off. And now I'm like,
the light does go off after there's no movement. So
the
that's
ghost
normal.
is done using the bathroom. I'm a ghost expert, so I noticed. So the ghost can either... They have to pee too. They have to go.
The door is shut, right? The door is shut,
Yeah.
and there's no movement in there. But the light did turn on, and now it's off.
Okay.
I'm about to get fucking myrtleized on this show right now.
Anyways,
Luch was talking all that smack about ghosts not being real.
now he's
So,
about to get himself smacked.
but back to what Josh said.
Yeah,
He's
so-
almost as bad as putting Skittles with M&Ms with Reese's. So that was pretty
Dude,
terrifying.
I'm telling you, I think I freaked my sister out enough that that was probably when we were 7 and 8 years old. So, but I think today, if I were to take a porcelain doll and put it in her room tonight with a knife in its hand, that she would
freak
lose
out.
her mind,
Really?
freaking out about it. It scared her good.
Oh,
Like, it was
man.
one of my best pranks, like of all time. Like, it was a good one.
Yeah, one question. Chucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have super strength?
I don't
Was
understand.
he, or is he just a doll with the
I've
kitchen
literally
knife?
never understood that. Like
he was just possessed.
you
or,
could
like,
punch the
he was
shit
immortal.
out of him, just
Yeah.
drop kick him.
Like I could crush his head in.
Yeah, exactly. But he wouldn't ever officially die. That was like the whole thing. Like you thought you would get rid of him, you could dismember him and throw him different places, but then all of a sudden,
Because
he's
he's not,
standing back in front of
he's
you.
not a demon. He's just a serial killer that died that
No.
happened to find him.
So, like, with your thing, with the witch doctor thing, it's like weird, like, voodoo thing. Like, he was put it's like a possession. So he was put into the doll somehow.
Yeah, but that
obviously,
doesn't make sense.
But yeah,
It's
he's
just all like, how did
Chucky,
he ever kill anybody?
He
He's
doesn't,
like,
he doesn't
a
have muscle.
foot-
He
He's
has
a foot tall.
Yeah, he has stuffing. How does I
It's
would
like
just
punt the shit.
like
out of you.
Samara?
Another
he-
one of those that the sense of humor on Chucky makes me love him.
I was terrified
love
as a
him.
kid of that movie because I was a kid and we had I had 4 sisters, so they all had dolls.
Yeah.
So that stuff scared me, but like you look back on it, if you try to watch those movies now, I laugh so hard because I'm like, oh my god, like,
Jack, I swear to God, if you have anybody popping out of that fucking room, I'm fucking killing
Look,
you.
I've been playing the long con. I've just had another friend in there, just like, you gotta wait at least an hour and a half. I just flick the light on a couple times.
it'd be good
and
content. I would. He might get dropped though.
Guys,
You
this
stand
table would be flipped and Josh would be trampled in a heartbeat. I'm a big dude, man, but I am fast when it comes to escaping.
I'd like to
so.
see that. Let's be honest. Would you be the first one to leave us all to die?
Yeah,
he would be out. He just does not care.
there is nobody in there. That is just the motion sensor going off.
So there's a ghost in there, but
There's either a ghost in there or there's somebody outside the window.
You just see a white mask just appear on the back.
I will, fecal my pants. Let's be honest.
All right, so I have a couple. So I have one that I've shared before, and then I have actually something else that I've never talked about that is probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. Like legit, like not even just like I thought I saw a ghost, yada yada. So when I was little, I was probably like say maybe 12 or 13. I got a really really bad cold, like flu-like symptoms, throwing up, like fever, everything like that. So bad to the point where like I was dehydrated. I wasn't like able to keep any food down, so I started hallucinating. So I started seeing things. Well, the seeing things turned into not only seeing things but hearing things. It went a step further. So this is actually, I'm going to end up getting goosebumps even talking about this because I literally never told anybody about this.
Yeah.
I started hearing a voice, a very distinct male, like raspy voice, telling me to do stuff. I woke up in the middle of the night and this is the middle of the sickness.
Uncle Donnie?
Yeah. In the middle of this sickness, like middle of the night, and keep in mind my room is in the basements.
Oh,
so
yeah.
my bedroom was in the basement. My parents were on the second floor, and I remember waking up in a cold sweat, just completely drenched. Now, of course, I was sick, so wasn't feeling well, but like super woozy, super dizzy, and something was just telling me to get up out of bed, go up this first flight of stairs, go up the second flight of stairs, and I thought I had to pee, so I was just like, oh, I need to get up, maybe throw up, or go to the bathroom. But instead, when I got to the top of the second flight of stairs, instead of wanting to go into the bathroom, the voice was telling me to turn around and jump down the stairs. Now, I'm 12 years old. A full flight of stairs. Like, literally, it literally was telling me to jump down the stairs. And, like, I can remember just, like, looking and holding onto the banister and, like, not wanting to do it because, like, the rational part of me is, like, I can't jump down the stairs. Like, why would... And I just started bawling to the point where my parents woke up and, like, came and was like, what's going on? And then, like, I was just, like, hysterical, saying that like I didn't want to jump down the stairs, and that something was telling me to jump down the stairs, and like they were freaked out to the point of like I remember after everything passed over the next couple of days and everything like that, the next week, my mom remembered, she like brought it up and was like, there was definitely something that felt evil in the house that night.
Yeah,
like even she was like unsettled and stuff. And why do you have an umbrella?
Where's Nicole?
She's in one of the rooms over there. She's not. There's nobody in there. There's nobody in there. I promise. I'm giving myself goosebumps.
I actually have goosebumps as well. I feel you.
But that's probably the scariest thing, and that was like over a span of a couple of days. Where most of it was like mild. Where like I woke up one time and I like literally ran over to my sister. I was sleeping in the living room instead of in my room downstairs, and I ran over to my sister and I just like started shaking her, just like to wake her up. Out of like for no reason, and then like laid down and went back to sleep, and then that happened with the whole stairs thing, and that's like the scariest thing that's ever happened to me personally.
Damn.
A good thing you didn't jump,
right? Oh man. And then this is years later when I had my own place. I actually told you guys this story the other day. I was sitting at home alone in my apartment. It was probably like 11:30 at night, and the apartment that I had was like sort of a cottage. It had like a screened-in porch on the back, and it was the only entrance to the house was through the back. And it had a screened-in porch, so it had a door to the screened-in porch, and then a door to the kitchen, and that's where you came in the house. The screened-in porch door is kept shut with a latch, like a hook on the inside, and if you do open it, it's an old screen door, so it has like real loud. You can hear it just swinging open and smacking shut, and then the door is locked. So I'm sitting there watching TV, and super quiet. I didn't have any animals at the time, nothing like that. I didn't have any friends over. Out of nowhere, the entire door, not the screen door, but the door to my house, literally starts shaking as if some 6-foot massive dude was on the other end of the doorknob, just like trying to shake it off the hinges. And it lasted for about 6 seconds. Like the door was just on, and the house wasn't shaking, so it wasn't an earthquake. It wasn't like some random thing. The door just literally shook as if it was gonna fly off the hinges, right? And I just sitting there, I just froze. Because like in my head, I'm like trying to rationalize, like somebody trying to break in, like what is happening. But the thing is that the screen door was latched. It never opened. It didn't swing open. It didn't swing shut. And when I finally got the courage to just get up and look, 5 minutes later, everything was still as it was. The hook was still on it. There was nobody outside. It was the weirdest thing.
So I actually thought about that when you told me. I was like, do you think it could have been a critter?
Ow.
Like it's a screen door, right? Like maybe something crawling on it, like, and then was like trying to get up.
No,
the door was the
not
actual
the screen
door.
The actual door.
The actual door of the house, like dead bolted latch door.
Okay.
But then the screen door was the one that was hooked. So the dead bolted door was the thing that was shaking off the hinges, and then nothing. So I don't know if some ghost was trying to get something in that night, and he just like picked my house, and then was like, "Shit, can't get in."
Shit, this damn lock.
I'm a spectral figure, but I can't get through the locked door.
I got a bludgeon.
That's an umbrella, Luch, not a bludgeon.
Someone's about to
As
die.
a ghost expert, that's going to do nothing. Unless it's made of iron. Which it's not. It's aluminium.
He got that from Supernatural, guys. Don't let him fool you.
So those are my two stories. One, like I said, super kind of like personal, and I never shared that before because that's like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just like all hallucination or what, but like something was like super off that night.
Yeah.
And
Jesus. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I wonder. I mean, we talk, or I mean, you hear things about people having suppressed memories and stuff. But like, I wonder how many like really messed up stories like that someone's gone through that they've suppressed that memory that they don't even realize that they've had, and like the family's never talked about it again or anything.
That was like with my ghost, quote unquote, ghost story. Is I didn't think anyone was gonna believe me.
Yeah.
So I held it inside for a long time till I told one of my sisters. I believe I told them, and they didn't necessarily believe me. But like once I was able to talk about it, it felt so good because for so long I was terrified to go anywhere near there. Like, because I'm like, well, no one's gonna believe me. Everyone's gonna say I'm making it up for attention or whatever kids do. So like it's just stuff like that. Like it was, and then it probably made it worse because after that, like I would have nightmares upon night. Even still, I'll have dreams. I don't think they're nightmares now because it doesn't scare me, but I'll still have dreams about that, like that time and like other similar times. So it's like it never really goes away, and that's why like when Jack tells a story and when Luch was telling a story, it's like I always get goosebumps because it reminds me of how I felt when I was like I felt like I was running for my life.
So let me tell you the real scary stuff and about stairs too. Just super quick story. I got a scar on my forehead. When I was a baby, my babysitter dropped me down the stairs, and I clucked right on top of the corner of the thing. It was just.
That actually explains a lot.
So wait, I was just about to say that's
I got a Harry Potter scar, literally right here, man.
Was your babysitter named Voldemort by any chance?
No, Jennifer.
Close.
So that's what happened to you. Okay, cool. Right. Now we know.
It explains a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So. So ghost stories, real, not real. I mean, for those of you listening, if you've had an experience or run in with a ghost, right? Just say "piss off, ghost," and that's that.
Piss off, space ghost.
Piss off, ghost.
No, but seriously, you feel feel free to leave them in the comments. We'd like to hear some feedback on this kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
If you got a full story, you would be more than happy to read it. Send it to any of our emails or
DM
social
us,
media.
let us know. I'm the ghost expert, so let me know. I'll come.
We'll pass it through.
All of his social media at the Ghost Expert, Caleb.
I charge a small fee.
Yeah, for sure. So, real quick, we're going to go around and what's your favorite scary movie, Luch?
Rapid fire.
All right, favorite scary movie
Yep.
would be Pass.
Oh, wow.
That's on my head.
I think Signs
Okay.
Oh my god.
Signs.
by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, okay.
That movie was so good at being freaky.
Yeah.
The part where they're in the closet, they all have their tinfoil hats on, and they're watching the little TV of the kid's birthday party, and oh god, I'm getting chill bumps,
Yeah.
and then like all of a sudden it just walks. That's it. It doesn't go kill anybody. It just walks through in the background. Like, oh my god, I
Yeah.
love it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so freaky. It's that movie.
Subtly good. Yeah, I got you.
It's really.
You mean Aliens meets the Wizard of Oz? Because H2O is just able to... Because he wanted to
I-
inhabit a planet that's 80% of something that can
You know
horribly
what?
kill them.
The idea wasn't let's ask and then get it broken down by the anti-signs fan.
Was it M. Night Oh, he actually was in that for a second in the
Yeah.
SUV, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's in
Caleb,
all
yours.
those movies.
Go.
All right, so
Oh,
one of my favorite scary movies would be probably Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's go with that one. That
Okay.
was something
Classic.
I watched that a lot.
Which one? Like the original?
I liked all of them. What? All right. And the lights on again. So
The lights on in the bathroom. Again. Look, I'm telling you, if it's a ghost, it's a friendly ghost. He doesn't want anything from us.
piss off, Space Ghost. But yeah, Nightmare on
Piss
Elm
off,
Street.
Ghost.
It was something I watched
Sorry,
growing
don't
up. It I don't know. It just it terrified me for so long, so it just stays in my brain.
Yeah,
so
I got you. All right, so mine off the cuff. I like so many horror movies that my favorite horror movie is the satire horror movie Cabin in the Woods, because it has
Yeah.
horror elements, but it's also funny. It's smart. It's well written.
So well done.
Yeah, it's just really well executed, right? So that's my favorite. If I had to pick a really really scary favorite movie, it would probably be like As Above, So Below, or Sinister.
Oh, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
really
So back to you real quick. Favorite scary
So,
movie?
quick scary movie. My favorite scary movie would have to probably be, the first Silent Hill was really
Silent
good.
Hill one.
Yeah,
Okay,
first one.
great.
And
All
who's
right.
in Jack's bathroom?
Second favorite scary movie is this podcast, the Halloween episode where all of us get halfway through and then the
Murdered.
ghost in this bathroom comes
By
out.
the bathroom.
Hang on, guys. I'm about to knock on this door real quick.
if it knocks back, I'm shitting my pants. So
Get out of here, Jack. I saw it coming a mile away.
Anyways,
It's all good.
all right, and then one final topic. Let's talk about. So we all love movies, obviously. We all play games, right? So favorite scary games, any kind of horror games. I'm gonna start with my. We're gonna go real quick through it. I'm gonna start with my actual scary game that it wasn't actually scary. Turok 64. Bear with me here. It's not a horror game by any means, but I was only allowed to play video games at night, right? And only for a certain amount of time. And then I'd have to go to bed. But then I would get up in the middle of the night and play with all the lights out. And let me tell you, after level I think 4, all of the levels of the end levels of Turok are all in underground ruins.
Yeah.
And the sounds in that game, bruh.
Yeah.
I used to play that game and be so scared at every single turn. I'd walk around and there'd be some little thing jumping out at you. The little jumpy lizard things would come at you. Anyway, music and sound effects, the things scared me. But then more recently, the first Fear,
Bro.
yo, that with the girl just popping up in your face every 5 seconds and just on fire, and then you'd be in the going down a hallway, and then the room would be upside down and blood would be coming down the hallway. That one, and then obviously you have Outlast.
And it combined a really cool first-person shooter to
the nail gun where you nail the people to
Yes.
the wall. Yes. Anyway, you.
all right, so you ghost expert.
That guy.
So, quick one on my end. It's just something that, me and my friends played. It was, for some reason, jump scares, just abrupt jump scares always get me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my friends, when we were in, early high school, played this, game that was based off Slenderman. It was the first ever game. The whole objective was to collect all these notes, turns out you can never win the game. Doesn't matter, you always lose. But what it is you have a flashlight, and you would have a certain amount of flashlight time, and every time Slenderman would get close, you'd have to turn the flashlight on for him not to get you. But if you ran out of battery, he would jump up out of nowhere when you would turn around, and then your screen would go static, and this music would play. And I just remember one specific time, me and two of my buddies were playing it. It was on the big screen TV. We had his computer hooked up to it. It was dark in the room. We're going, and then he turns around, and we're in like a bathroom, and he turns around, turns it on, and Slenderman's right there. I just remember all of us jumping. My friend literally jumped from his computer chair over the chair to the bed behind him, and then covered himself up. So that has to be, for the rest of my life, will be the most like memorable, scary game, because it was just so basic, but it was just it was so fun.
Yeah, it did its job well.
Yeah, Josh.
Perfect. Let's see. So I will say the first game that I really remember freaking me out was Doom 3.
Hell yeah!
On
The
PC.
my god, the monster that we Kim and I actually watched the video today. It was the Chorbits,
I don't know
the baby insect.
Yes. Oh god. Well, that one just had like there'd be different scenes where you turn down a hallway, and then all of a sudden you'd hear the little girl's voice, and you'd see bloody little kid footprints walking past you, like down. That game was one of the first horror games that I really played a lot of, and played at night and everything. That freaked me out. But that I was probably like, right into college, so like 18, 19, something like that. Something recently, Limbo. Limbo is so freaking good. If you can play the whole first level of Limbo without jumping at all, like, oh my god, that game, it gets me every time.
It's
so
beautifully
good.
done, but I can't get scared from a 2D game like that.
It's not a terrifying, like, Silent Hill type thing, but it's still, like, it's super creepy, it's cool, and yeah, definitely some different things that are going to make you jump. Looch.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for the store to fly open. Just shout out to Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It's not my favorite game, but it's a very scary game. Introduced the defenseless survival horror game genre. One of the top ones would be Condemned: Criminal Origins. Mm-hmm. The mannequins in that, guys, that's all you need to know. Scariest things ever. Yeah. The first thing that you would like introduce, you'd walk, turn around, there'd be mannequins. Walk, turn around, there'd be more mannequins. And then Condemned: Criminal Origins, definitely up there. Evil Within, definitely one of my favorite horror games. And then a shout out to what could have been the greatest horror game ever was Silent Hill PT. Was never made. It was supposed to be made by Konami. They have a demo that you can still play, I believe. It featured Daryl from The Walking Dead as the main protagonist, but it introduced the looping hallway mechanic, where the entire game took place in the house, and then when you go through a door, it'd lead you through a hallway again. And then something would change each time throughout the hallway. You'd walk to the end, the door would be locked, come back, there'd be a bathroom opened. It's just, it was...
That's crazy.
Yeah. Interesting. Woo. So Luch is genuinely freaked out by the bathroom light turning back on. Genuinely scared. But anyways,
weird faces outside. I'm about to...
I thought it was supposed to move. I don't know. Sorry. I'll protect you. Relax.
Yeah, you're good.
As I get sucked out the window.
It's not Constantine.
I'll hit him with you.
Yeah. Anyways, that pretty much wraps up our Halloween special. This has been an awesome episode. We had some great stories and some freaky moments, a lot of goosebumps. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I think that the bathroom monster, the bathroom ghost, is the final boss.
I will wait.
That's the final boss.
I will wait till I get home to take a piss.
That's fine.
He's gonna pee in a bottle in his car now.
I think the bathroom ghost is the final boss, and I think that's where we wrap it up.
I think so.
Thank you to that guy for joining us and being our first very special guest, the ghost expert.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thanks for having me. It was great, and I'm glad we got to experience a ghost while I was here.
Yeah, this is perfect.
Hell no, I didn't sign up for this shit.
Hell no.
Hell no.
From all of us at the Bonus Level Podcast, thanks for listening, and have a very safe and spooky Halloween.
Shout out to Steven, Later Taters.